One of the questions I get all the time is, how do you know if you're actually healing from trauma? And so today I'm going to talk to you about the 7 signs that you're healing from trauma. And some of these things you might not even notice. And these were many of the things that I noticed previously on my journey that I still actually notice that have played a huge role in my life. Now, of course, if you have not, you can hop on a coaching call with me at any time. If you go to thinkunbroken.com, that's thinkunbroken.com, or hit me up on Instagram at michaelunbroken, hop on a free coaching call with me. Let's see where you're at in life. Let's see how the group and the community can support you more in your healing journey. So here are the 7 things. 1, you react differently to triggers. This was the number one thing that I noticed when I was like, oh, wait a second, I think that this work is working. And first, you're going to see that your old triggers don't hit you as hard, or that you happen to recover faster from when you do get triggered. Now, I will say this, I am a fan and a proponent of this moment of getting triggered where you have to really reflect and look at what's happening in your life. You know, there might have been a past comment that was set you off, made you feel like the world was on fire. Maybe somebody was out to get you. Maybe you catastrophized, whatever it is. And now it just feels manageable. And you're like, oh, all right, whatever. That's their opinion. One of the biggest things in that is you notice how to recognize that shift and embrace it. It's absolutely amazing. Like when you let the triggers hit different, man, oh my God, it's so healing. Number 2 is that your self-talk has improved. You might see this as less blame and more self-compassion. You might see this as you catch negative thoughts and you reframe them immediately and you change that inner dialogue, which is a huge marker of healing. Some of us, we beat ourselves up so badly, right? And I've said this before, some of you are so mean to yourselves. If you said it to me, I'd punch you in the face. And while I say that in jest, there's a lot of truth and honesty to that. So when you start to notice that your self-talk improves, that's a huge part of this. Number 3, you set boundaries without guilt. This one for me was like a holy crap moment because I realized I've started to say no. And here was the best part. I started to say no without explaining myself to people. Think about this, how often we explain why it's a no. It's funny, I was just having a conversation with somebody a couple of weeks ago, and they really were like crossing a boundary, and I was like, no. And they were like, why? And I said, because no is a complete sentence. And so you'll notice way less people pleasing and more prioritizing your own needs. And you'll start to see also, and you might be seeing it now, how boundary setting feels like second nature. This is where giving yourself permission to set boundaries becomes a game changer. Number 4, you feel more uncomfortable with uncertainty. This one is paramount because here's the thing. As trauma survivors, we can be control freaks. If you ever say the phrase, I'm a control freak, you really need to understand where that comes from. Because being a control freak means that you have complete understanding and awareness of the potential outcome of anything that happens. I was going to say potentiality. Of the potential outcome of everything that happens, but that's not realistic. You cannot control everything. And so trauma survivors, we often crave control, but healing, when you're in this, allows you to trust the process, right? There's so many people, as an example, like when plans change or something unexpected happens, they don't know how to handle it. It throws them right into their trauma response, fight, flight, freeze, fawn. And the next thing you know, like they're in an upside down world. And learning to tolerate discomfort, especially around not being in control, is a beautiful sign of growth and resilience. Number 5, you're more present and less stuck in the past. This is what's amazing. You're going to start to notice and enjoy small moments without intrusive thoughts taking over all the time. I would be in these places in my life where I'd be having a great day, and then I'd think about something that I did 30 years ago, or 20 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm like, why am I stuck in this? And then you realize that you start to get more present. Now, think about these. Look at some of the possible signs of living in the present moment. It's deeper connections. It's actually enjoying more experiences. It's mindfulness. And this is an ability that if you continue to strengthen, will create a massive shift in your life. Because what I always think about is depression is reliving the past and anxiety is fear of the future. But the present, this moment right here, right now, this is actually the only thing that we can control. Believe it or not, I wish we could control everything, but you know it as well as I do, you can't. And being stuck in the past, that's a recipe for disaster. There's rumination there. There's disappointment there. There's anger. There's hurt there. And it's not that like those things won't come up and sometimes you need to address them, but you need to ask yourself, where are you living in the past? What do you need to let go of? What do you need to heal and move through to really go to the next level in your life? Number 6, you recover from emotional lows more quickly. This is wow, right? Because here's the reality, like we can get in these spirals of being down for days and days and days. The depression, the anxiety, the fear, the grief, the loss. And then it spirals out of control to the point where you're like, man, it's been a month. I haven't brushed my teeth. I haven't got out of bed. I haven't worked out. I've been eating like crap, drinking, like whatever that thing is. But what happens when you start to heal, the recovery phase of this is so much faster. You might get hit by something and be down for a day or an hour or sometimes even a minute. And you start to notice you no longer spiral for days and days and days after setbacks. And this, my friend, this is emotional regulation. This is nervous system healing right here at its finest. Because getting to control and regulate our emotions, man, that's everything. This means that you don't make rash decisions. This means that you don't freak out. This means that when you are in a position of difficulty and conflict, you can navigate it well. Being able to emotionally regulate and control and heal your nervous system, that to me is my favorite sign. But we got one more. And this is I lied. This is my favorite. And this is why. Number 7, you feel hopeful about the future. That can feel like a stretch. That can feel like a sentence where you're like, get out of here. But let me tell you this. When you can get to the place that you feel hopeful about the future, you start making plans, you start dreaming, you start believing. And most importantly, you allow it to happen. You shift from survival mode to actually living your life. And the mindset shift that happens is integrated deeply into healing. When you can get to this place that you're hopeful and you're optimistic, this doesn't mean, and I teach my clients this all the time, like if you've never come into the groups, if you haven't read my books or anything like that, I want you to think about this. When you get to this place where you can leverage hope while knowing that life is going to life, you're in control. Because the future can still be bright. It can still be beautiful. It can be powerful. Yes, it can be very difficult. We know this. You know this. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, pretend that's not a reality. There's loss, there's suffering, there's hurt, there's pain here. But you have the ability, if you focus on the future, to really, really create hope just in the way that you think. So just want to recap those again for you, because these are the 7 signs you're healing from trauma. Number 1, you react differently to triggers. Number 2, your self-talk improves. Number 3, you set boundaries without guilt. Number 4, you feel more comfortable with uncertainty. Number 5, you're more present and less stuck in the past. Number 6, you recover from emotional lows more quickly. And number 7, you feel hopeful about the future. If you don't see all these signs yet, look, this is the process. And I know you probably hate hearing this. Trust the process. This is how it works. And the work works if you do the work. I'm telling you, the work works if you do the work. So that said, if you're in the process of the work, you need more support, you need more community, you need something as you're going along this journey, head over to thinkunbroken.com, hop on a call with me, or check me out at Michael Unbroken on Instagram. Until next time, my friend, take care of yourself, take care of each other, be unbroken.